There we go.
Order.
So getting in
Order
on
submitted.
that inverse fair value gap there, we're finally getting a model kind of playing out. I'm going to have my stops below the low here. If we see price start trading back through these candles, I would say that we retrace deeper. But getting that inverse fair value gap, have clean targets to the upside. So waited about an hour and a half for this move almost. So let's see if we can get price to follow through here. Like I said, if I'm bullish, I want to see bearish fair value gaps get disrespected. Now we did have this bearish fair value gap here as well that I probably could have drew this on, but I maybe could have waited until that full fair value gap got disrespected. But it's all right. Let's see if we can get some bullish pressure. But that's the thing. I mean, I do have confidence that we will draw to this Asia and London high. Will it be right now? Could be, but that's kind of out of my control, right? I looked for a setup to play out and I'm just executing on that, right? And I'm just managing my risk. I know this is, risk is managed here. I got a set fixed amount that I want to risk, and if it doesn't play out, it doesn't play out. You know what I mean? And it's towards the end of the session, so I take the one trade and I'm just done, right? Like I would just accept the loss and move on from it, and then maybe not even trade tomorrow because of the news event and stuff. So, but this is sometimes the reality of trading. I waited an hour and a half to get an entry. I get an entry, and I mean, I could get instantly stopped out here. You know what I mean? Within 3 minutes. Now we did get a 5 minute inversion here. Probably actually could have waited for that. I didn't even notice that because I was paying attention to the 1 minute. But a 5 minute inverse here would give me more confidence. But at this point, might get stopped out here. I don't see this candle. See what this 1 minute candle does, but looks like it might want to flip and take out the stop loss. Especially because that was just a 5 minute closure. Yeah, this candle would really have to start moving in our direction for this trade to play out at this point. But yeah, had some clean price action to the upside, but we could be messing around now. Like I said, I would like to see this Asia and London high get taken, but price could be messing around. But I don't like how we're starting to consolidate here. Consolidation means there's a continuation that's going to happen. So we just had this big move. We could be consolidating to go lower. But yeah, unfortunately, this is the reality of trading. You know, sometimes you wait a long time for your setup to play out, and then you could instantly get stopped out or instantly go in drawdown, you know? But it's what you do after this trade. Like, if I immediately take another buy after this trade, you know, or if I flip my bias and I go sells and then price actually runs in my favor, you know what I mean? So that's the most important part in trading is what you do after you take a loss or after your setup doesn't work out. You know, are you going off the rails and you're doing different strategies, or are you sticking to your guns and just saying, you know, it's part of the data, it's part of the probability, right? I think I should have only taken two contracts here and then had my stops at these lows though, to be completely honest. But yeah, it's all good. See if we can get that follow through. We had that deep retracement on the 30-minute candle into that order block. So, like I said, this looked really good all around on all time frames. But I don't like how we're consolidating here on the 1 minute now. So, let's see if we can start getting more of a push up here in the last 5 minutes of this 10 a.m. candle. I would love to see that. And then 11 a.m. just kind of follow through to that Asia and London high. Now, obviously, if we start trading through this inverse fair value gap here, I would say that we're pretty solid to break this high and go for the Asia and London high. But this is a line of defense that we have to get through, right? Order block breaker. So one thing to keep in mind, this is accumulation right here. So if this was accumulation, this could be manipulation to go lower. So just keeping that in mind as well. Yeah, we rejected that midnight open pretty hard. Thing is, we are bullish. We are getting that reaction off that midnight open. I am seeing bullish price action right now because we have clean targets to the upside. But I could see definitely the conflicting draws for sure, Frank. I can definitely see that. But right now, I have a really good risk to reward on the table, so I think that's one thing to consider. This was a pretty good setup, and I have a really good risk to reward. And if it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, I'd like to see price start trading a bit higher before we close this 10 a.m. candle, just in case we have a pullback. Now, if we're trading in this range, I am a little nervous that 11 a.m. could come down here further for a pullback and sweep the 10 a.m. low. But I don't like how we're accumulating upwards like this, right? I want to see price really, really start to move. Did I see the price gap? Show me, Jonah. Show me the price gap. Yeah, look at Randy's fill. Randy's got a great fill there to that 5-minute fair value gap. Very good fill. 23,258. Like a volume imbalance? Is that what you're talking about? Right here? That's what you like to see inverted? Is that what you're talking about, Jonah? True. Yeah, that is very, very specific. That is very specific. That's where you got in? Damn, bro. Good work. It's actually solid. All right, so at this point, I am feeling a little bit more confident that we will trade higher, just because if this was going to be manipulation, I feel like it would have slammed back into the range pretty quickly. So we're holding price outside of this range. I do feel like we will trade towards these Asia and London highs. Do you use indicators? I use just ICT everything and then obviously this notes thing, but that's not really an indicator. This is just for branding, I guess. But I use ICT everything. That's just to draw out the Asia range and the standard deviations. Um, yeah, I was only suggesting if there was one that showed volume imbalances, but it can definitely or fair value gaps and imbalances, but it can definitely clutter your screen really fast. Because I've messed around with like fair value gap indicators, right? But when you put them on your screen, they're just everywhere, right? So it's really hard, and you would want to filter them out a little bit more. So everything's just kind of manual, aside from the Asia range and those standard deviations. So high touch over high tech. Yeah, that's exactly what ICT says as well. He's manually drawing everything out. But I mean, sometimes it can be useful. Sometimes I like seeing like maybe the VWAP or something, just as like a reference. Yeah, so got that first 2 minutes of the 11 a.m. open here. Could see a little wick to the downside. And then we start working our way back up, right? Yeah, I'm hoping if we sweep some liquidity, we only sweep some of this sell side right here. And we don't come down and sweep the 10 a.m. lows, right? Actually, 10 a.m. lows are way down here, right? Yeah, actually. So maybe these 30-minute lows, I hope not, but it is possible. It definitely is possible, especially with the accumulation that we're having right now. It would be most unfortunate to trade back to the opposite side of this range. But on the contrary, if we do form a fair value gap here, this could be another entry opportunity, a bearish fair value gap, and we see a bearish fair value gap fail, right? I wouldn't mind seeing that. I can't get rid of that mark. So yeah, we've been in this trade for about 20 minutes now. 20 minutes in this trade. All right, so we got 3 seconds on this candle forming a bearish fair value gap. So I'd love to see this fail. This bearish fair value gap. We are delivering out of this fair value gap here. So let's see. Yeah, we could be trading to the opposite side of this accumulation range, right? Yeah, this 11 a.m. candle pulling back a little bit. I still am confident that the draw is going to be towards that Asia high, but are we going to get stopped out in the meantime? Stopped at break even. Yeah, my fill was a little bit higher, so might be taking a full loss on this. Unless we can get back above this fair value gap. Price is slowing down and wanting to accumulate though. Looks like the stop loss might get hit at this point. This is what I was kind of worried about if we did not deliver out of this fair value gap kind of quickly, that 11 a.m. could roll around and sweep the lows of this 30-minute candle. Right, so we have the lows of this 30-minute candle that are pretty close. Right, that price could trade into, especially after we're seeing the manipulation like this. The accumulation and then manipulation. Now we could distribute lower, but we'll let it ride. Let it ride here and see. Yeah, I'm so bullish as well. It's just price is not really giving us what we want. I think timing is a little bit of a factor here. We did get that bullish invert too, though. So we could get lucky here twice. Price completely turn around on us. But we're accumulating here on the 1 minute, so it looks like we want to slam down towards these lows again. Maybe make one more manipulation leg to the downside. So that 5-minute fair value gap is really getting respected though. You can see we're tapping into it multiple times.
Order filled.
So there's stop loss getting hit. Pretty unfortunate. But yeah, that's the reality of trading though. I think I could have had a little bit better of a stop loss. Could have had a little bit better stop loss, but yeah, it's after 11 a.m. now, so I probably won't take any more trades. Like I said, I did want to see higher prices, but we are kind of just chilling right now, and this could be an inside bar day. We have this daily candle like this. This could just be an inside bar day. I don't know if we'll reach for this daily low, but at this point, it's just kind of nothing really going on.